order. We have the prayer and the pledge by Councilman David Broussard.
Our Lord, pray our Father.
Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Dan Doyle.
Here.
Councilmember Natalie Lopez. Present. Councilmember Marlon Lewis.
Here.
Councilmember David Broussard.
Here.
Councilmember Deidre Ledbetter. Here. Councilmember Sherry Guidry.
Present.
Councilmember Dustin Swear.
Here.
Thank you. Public comment. Please remember there's no back and forth with public comment. I also take this time to ask you to silence your cell phones. And if you're going to speak, you fill out a comment card on an agenda item. Madam Clerk?
Lloyd Verrett from District 1 to address item number 6A.
Is it okay to take my mask off?
Yes, sir. 6 feet away.
Thank you. First of all, I love New Iberia.
Thank you.
I drive through New Iberia, all parts of town, and it's disappointment for me to see the homes deteriorating all over. I commend you guys for taking care of the blighted homes. I know it's a massive undertaking, but you're doing something that needs to be done. I don't live in a gated community, but my neighbors and I keep our properties clean and in good living condition. As you drive east on Daspit, all the homes from Texaco on the north side are on slabs. The owner that wants to relocate this home, Mr. Claudette, wants to move a 50-year-old plus home, not on a slab. We don't allow trailers to be moved into the city. Why would we allow an old house to be dragged across town and no telling what condition it's gonna be in by the time it gets there and installed here in this location? On the existing property, there's a camper that hardly ever moves. It parallels Daspit, and it has at least 3 vehicles on, just about on Daspit, sometimes parking in their front yard, that's already there. So that you can consider the situation the way it is with the parking is, and you're gonna be adding more people to park there. On the property in question, there's a large fallen tree that has been down there for a long period of time that has not been picked up. Also, a second tree just fell for the past hurricane that fell on the adjacent property. This tree has since been removed by the adjacent property owner because it smashed their house with no help and no assistance from Mr. Claudette. Not that I think he might be liable, but the fact is, a neighborly thing would have been to try to get this thing taken care of. Mr. Claudette told me that this property will be rented probably for at least 2 years. If this is improving our area, or are you just bringing a house here that may be well blighted in the near future, and bringing a rental house is not what we want in our neighborhood. As you see, as you know, you may or not know that this item was supposed to be on the September planning and zoning. It was changed to October to give the homeowner more time. I called Jane and asked her to at least inform me that I was opposed to this. Not that I think it's her responsibility, but I had hoped that she would do this because I know from previous experience that she usually does with interested parties. She usually does contact them and let them know what's happening. She did not call me. I don't know if she advised others. In the meantime, we had a Hurricane Delta to deal with, and that was about a day and a half before the planning and zoning meeting. I was more concerned with worrying about my property and my neighbor's property, because 4 of my neighbors were going out of town, and I agreed to look over their property for them at that time. It really was not fair for this meeting to fall so close to a hurricane advancing in our area. I would like to stress, I'm not leaving New Iberia and going to Youngsville. You are a very strong city council, and I'm proud of the direction it is going. I'm not in favor of moving this house in our area and ask for your support, or at least send it back to planning and zoning so that we can at least present our issues to the planning and zoning so that they can hear our side of it, not just one side of the issue. That's all I have to say. I appreciate you considering it, and like I said, at the very least, I would hope that you would at least, I hope you turn it down, but at the least send it back to planning and zoning where we could make our presentation.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Jane McDonald from District 1 to discuss agenda item number 6A.
Thank you all. In 1990, I bought a house in this district, District 1, 3 houses down from where Mr. Claudette wants to move another house for rental. I raised my family in this neighborhood. It's a wonderful neighborhood. We have great neighbors, a lot of elderly people. District 3 has been a quiet area except for 3 houses, and I'll just call them 1, 2, and 3. They're all rental houses. Rental 1, the police have been there at least 6 times, maybe more, for drugs, domestic violence, and a shooting. House 2, drugs, 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 and the rentals. And the neighbors back there complain constantly. House 3, drugs, drugs, and another shooting. I'm opposed to moving this house. I don't think the neighborhood needs another disruption. Most of the people are elderly and can't deal with it. And I appreciate your vote no on this item. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Matthew Claudette to discuss agenda item number 6A.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Thank you all for your time and for your consideration. I'll be very succinct with my comments. I'll just share a little bit about why it is that I have the intention of moving this home to my property on Daspit Street. And then after that, I'd like to also address the main points of opposition that were spoken to me as I went and garnered the signatures required for my petition. The reason that my wife and I are trying to move the home is because Mr. Larry, who owns Dugas Automotive Repair on Center Street, owns the property, but he would like to expand his business. He doesn't want to incur the cost of having to remove the home, tear it down, and dispose of it, or he was either having to have that option or to find the home to be able to give it to someone in order for them to be able to utilize it. There have been 2 to 3 different home movers actually go to the site to inspect. All of them have said in the affirmative that is in great condition, great structural condition. The reason that my wife and I are trying to take this home from Mr. Larry and put it on our property is because we've adopted all 6 of our kids. The oldest 2 are special needs. Gina has autism. Adrian has a learning disability. Neither one of them will be able to live without supervision for the rest of their adult lives. So it is our intention to be able to put our family members in that particular property, but Adrian is only 16. That being said, it would be at least 2 years before I would be able to do that. I would not want to move a home and leave it vacant in any particular place, and so it will be a rental temporarily. So that being the case, I just wanted to put that out there. In terms of the main points of opposition, I think that I came across 5 of them. The first one that I'd like to talk about is the age of the structure. I think that was already referenced. Most people who go into the home and see it from the outside or from the inside will tell you that it's about 50 to 60 years old. My particular property on Daspit was last surveyed in 1962, which would be 58 years from today. and that subdivision has actually been around a little longer than that. So I don't believe that that would be an issue. The second opposition that was raised was that the house is not on a slab. On Tampico Street, if you drive from Jane Street, there's at least 14 houses not on a slab, 2 of which are within 300 feet of the property, 1 of which is 621. The address that would be for the house that I'm trying to move would be 622. It's across the street, 1 house to the left, it's off the ground. Also, across from the particular piece of property I'm trying to move the house to, there are 3 mobile homes. I do think that it would be an improvement to the community. It's not my intention to harm the community in any way. I do live in Squirrel Run, less than 2 miles from the property, which makes it ideal for our use, for our children in the future. Also, the next main opposition was the appraisal value. The house on Tampico, which I currently own, and there is an attached property that is a separate city lot, which is the property I'm trying to move the house to. It appraised for $84 per square foot. My goal is to get this particular home to appraise for close to $90 per square foot. Since I've been 20 years old, many people probably in the room know that I've been involved with building homes and also owning properties and renting them out. I work at Lowe's, and I'm very competent and able to make this move and to help it to actually beautify that particular neighborhood. Also, the improvements that I would be doing is I will be updating the floors, countertops, appliances, fixtures. I will also be doing landscaping and installing fencing on the property. There was a point that was raised that renters are something that some of the homeowners do not want in the subdivision. I have currently had a renter in the house at 101 West Tampico, which is attached to that particular property. And I've never once had a call that there was an issue with the renters that I have. They're very good people. And also, considering the fact that I'd like to put my own family in this home, I think should relieve any thoughts of drugs or any types of negative issues coming about. I'll just go ahead and I'll leave it at that. So if y'all have any questions, please feel free. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that ends our public comment time for tonight. We'll move on to item number 2.
Natalie Broussard to address the council for the purposes of announcing candidacy for 16th Judicial District Judge for Division F.
Good evening, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the council, members of viewing and members of the audience. I want to thank y'all for the opportunity to come before you tonight, introduce myself, and tell you a little bit more about you. I think most of you in here know me and know my background, but for the viewing audience that may not, my name is Natalie Broussard. Been born and raised here in New Iberia. Been a lifelong resident of the 16th Judicial District. I left for about 5 years and lived in St. Martin Parish, but came back to Iberia after that. I am married to my high school sweetheart. We've been married for almost 30 years now. We have 4 children. My oldest is currently on active duty with the United States Navy and recently made me a grandmother. So now I'm not only a proud military mom, but I'm a proud grandma. I graduated from LSU with a bachelor in criminal justice and got my law degree from LSU as well. Returned back to New Iberia and opened a general law office practice where I have been doing for over 25 years civil and criminal law in Iberia Parish. Well, in the district. It's not only in Iberia Parish, but out of my office in New Iberia. This race comes down to, I think, 2 issues, and that's experience and independence. And I encourage all of you to look at the type of experience that each candidate has before you make a decision on who you're going to be voting for judge. Because when a judge gets sworn in, they hit the ground running, and you don't have time for a learning curve. In this case, January 5th, the judge is going to be in criminal motions, and on January 6th, the judge is going to be in civil rules. So you might go from deciding whether or not evidence is going to be included or excluded in a murder trial on Tuesday, and on Wednesday deciding how long a child's going to be in the custody of mom or dad, or how much support a parent will be paying, or something of that nature. There's no time for a learning curve. You need a judge that is familiar with all aspects of the law, and is not only familiar with all aspects of the law, but a judge who's been in the courtroom. And my practice has allowed me to have extensive courtroom experience in both civil and criminal cases. In the criminal arena, I have handled cases from simple trespassing, disturbing the peace, all the way up to first-degree murder trials. So I have extensive experience in all areas, not only in front of judges, but also in front of juries. So I think it's important that we elect a judge that has experience. And I think it's also important that we elect a judge that understands what it means to serve their community. And if you look at my history, you'll see that as a very young child, it's just something that was instilled in me from my parents when I was probably in the 3rd grade, volunteering with the American Red Cross for a flood in Ponchatoula. And I've continued that through my adult life. I've served on the United Way Board of Directors. I've served on the CASA Board of Directors. I served on Mayor Curry's Blue Ribbon Commission on Law Enforcement. I served on the New Iberia Charter Committee with Jeff Simon, where the voters approved the new charter that we put before them and is in place here today. I was also instrumental on the Moving Iberia Forward PAC, where we worked very hard to get the tax passed so that the city police could be reformed. So my dedication and my commitment to my community is unmatched by any of the other candidates. And I believe what a judge does is just that. It serves the people that come before them. So I think it's important that we have a judge that understands what it means to serve others. And when you're talking about serving others, you can't serve others unless you've built the trust. And I've built the trust of the people that I've served, so much so that I've been elected twice to the Iberia Parish Council with over 70% of the vote. I sit in the seats that y'all sit in, and we make similar decisions that y'all make. We have the tough budget decisions. We have all those tough decisions. I appreciate the fact that all of you have stepped forward and have committed to serving your community. I know it's a sacrifice, and I know it's not easy. I also understand the political pressures that we endure as a result of it. And, I think that it's important that we elect a candidate that has a proven history of maintaining their independence and not bowing down to those political pressures. I'm the only candidate who is an elected official, and I have that proven record where I've made those votes that may not have been politically popular, but it was the best decision for the people I serve. And as your next district judge, you can be assured that I will, again, not bow down to the political pressures. I will maintain my independence, and I will make decisions that are best for the people that come before me in the courtroom. Because I not only talk the talk, but I've walked the walk. And I know in my heart what I've done, and I believe the motto that my campaign has been based on is that people matter more than politics. So you can trust that the political decisions that we've all faced and heard about in the courtroom won't happen in my courtroom. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate your consideration. I am number 75 on the ballot. I'm asking for your vote, but in addition to that, I'm asking for your support. But most important, I'm asking for your prayers. So early voting is going on, as I'm sure all of you are aware. It lasts until Tuesday. So get out and early vote. And if you're not an early voter, November 3rd is the election day. So thank y'all very much.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Marlon Lewis to announce candidacy for re-election as New Iberia City Councilman for District 2.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council,
Good afternoon.
audience. My name is Marlon Lewis, Councilman-elect, serving as the incumbent for District 2. I am number 93 on the ballot. Early voting is going on right now, so don't forget to vote. The general election is November the 3rd, 2020. I am Marlon Lewis. A lot of people know me by Marlo. I'm a people's person. I'm known in my community. I am a Christian by faith, but I'm human by nature. So if you see me slip, pray for me. I'm a single dad. I have a 28-year-old and a 13-year-old. My 28-year-old, Kyrie Lewis, is a graduate of Dillard University in public health. She's now working on Women's College in Texas on her master's in public health administration. I have a 13-year-old, Kennedy Lewis. She's all over the place. One thing about Kennedy helps me ride the whole town because we're all over, dropping her here, dropping to school, dropping to dancing, picking up snacks, all of that good stuff. So I get an opportunity to see what's going on around the whole city through her. She's a blessing. I've been a licensed professional barber for 28 years, and I say that the long form. I can just say I'm a barber, but I'm a licensed professional barber. And the reason why I say that, I wasn't always licensed professional. I started cutting hair under the tree in my backyard, and I turned it into a profession, which I think qualifies me for a role model. So I'm also a role model in my community. Volunteering. I serve on many boards currently. I serve on Western Neighborhood Association Board, better known as WECNA. We help revitalize elderly's homes. Right now, we're building a lot of handicap ramps right now. We put a cap on what we do for our community because there's so many needs out there. So we decided to do handicap ramps as a regular thing. I also serve in the local NAACP. I was first vice president, but when I got busy with city council, I decided to step down and let someone have it. But I am a supporter of the NAACP, in which I'm proud to say I am. I also serve on Hopkins Street Economic Development, a board that it's a political subdivision that deals with economic development, specifically in the Hopkins Street area, which we are now working on projects. We have acquired $12.1 thousand, not million, $12.1 thousand to do some rehab in the community in the Hopkins Street area. That project is forthcoming. As a councilman, as a body, we have done a lot. My sign says, "Let the work I've done speak for me." After I looked at it, after it was in print and everything, I say I missed something. I say, "Let the work we've done speak for us." We've been a great team. Natalie, Dan, I'm going to miss you guys. We've been a great team. We've done a lot. $10 million in grants. We have a $3 million surplus as a council. Right now we're working on district master plans where we're going to bring different groups in to, I think it's either the Slyman or
Bayou Test Trading Company, St. Peter Street. Going
at
on
Bayou
now.
Trade.
2 more weeks.
Bayou Trading Company.
Bayou Test Trading Company.
Bayou Test Trading Company. We're going to be
301
doing
West St. Peter.
301 West St. Peter. We're going to be doing district master plan studies where we're going to be inviting the community, the town, to see what we're doing, what we have forthcoming. I realize that we do have some issues, roads being one of the issues. We are going to be bonding some money in the year forthcoming to begin to repair our roads. We inherited a road problem. I know we get a lot of flack for our roads, but we inherited that problem. But guess what? I'm built for the challenge. I accept the challenge. I accept people saying you didn't fix my roads, because I signed up for a job where challenges come. And we face a lot of challenges, but we also have a lot of accomplishments. We have 65 new businesses. And if you leave it up to Kennedy, all they needed was Chick-fil-A. We know that closing the West End Park pool was a big issue, very big issue on both sides, but it also was a safety issue. And I know that because I served on Parks and Recreation Board during the time it was closed. I know that. Our pools are old. One of the things we're looking at doing in the future is coming up with a community pool where everybody can come and enjoy the summertime together and beat the heat. But in the meantime, we have put a splash pad there. And I heard people say, it's a very small splash pad. But the good part about it is you can build on it. And that's what this council is about, building together. That's what I'm about. I ran in 2016 on Let's Build Together. Now I'm running on Let's Continue to Work Together, because we really have done some great things. Weston Park, my baby. Again, new playground equipment, new air conditioning system. Funny story, we was in there for our NAACP Black History program, and I was sitting next to the mayor, and all of a sudden the air conditioner came on and it went, vroom. I said, man, we got to fix this. And we got it done. We got it done. We also have painted the building. We're putting a new roof on it, already budgeted. Drainage projects. One of my first projects I'm proud of, the Zayas Street project. I actually had to go out and do some work for that project. It made me know my job wasn't going to be easy. I had to go out and get signatures so they can get a right of way to clean a ditch behind some of the homes on Zayas Street. In 4 years, I haven't got a call where those people say, hey, Marlo, I got water coming in my house. If anything, I got calls saying, thank you. We haven't had water in 4 years. And I want to thank Mr. Leroy in his absence. You know, we have a new public works director, Mr. Joe Livingston, but Leroy and them, they got on it. I told them we needed it done, and they got it done. And I know that Joe is going to get. What I'm saying is we got a team. I played sports and basketball, and if you win a championship, you don't get rid of your team. I'm an integral member of the team, and I'm asking my constituents to not get rid of me. House demolition and boarding. As we talked about earlier, I heard people talking about the house moving, and one of the most drastic things that we can do is tear down a home. You know, I didn't realize that when I first got here, because this is on-job training. You don't become a seasoned elected official the day after election. And I thought, tear every house down. Well, we started talking about boarding some of them up, which gives people future opportunities to put those homes back into commerce and to have a place to live, to make a viable community. The West End community is what my concerns are. And we have a lot of blighted properties in West End, but I don't think all of them need to be torn down. Some of them honestly should have been torn down. But we're doing our best working with what we have. We are a progressive council. I am a progressive leader. I love my community. I take pride in my community. That's why I suit up and I show up for my community, to let my community know there's something good that comes out of the West End. One of the things that I'm proud of as a council is that we have a $3 million surplus. I say let the work I've done speak for me, but that's the work that we've done. And that's the things that people don't see unless we tell them. We have to second every motion and vote yea or nay on the things that the mayor wants to spend money on. And I'm grateful for the $10 million grants, because like one of my good minister friends say, money cometh. When money begin to come, it's going to keep coming. And I'm going to be fighting to get it in the West End, because there are a lot of things in the West End that only money can fix, but there are also some things that great leadership can fix. And in 4 years, I've been great leadership for District 2. So I'm asking my community, the West End District 2, to re-elect Marlon Marlo Lewis, number 93 on the ballot. God bless and thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Tony Miguez to announce candidacy for re-election as City Marshal for New Iberia.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor, council, community, audience. My name is Tony Miguez, and I am currently the city marshal. I'm married to Peggy, been married for 25 years. I have 3 wonderful children. My oldest son, Michael, has two kids. He's a contractor. My second son, Jacques, is in his last year of law school. He has 2 children. And my baby girl, Faith, a junior at UL, planning also to attend law school. I'm very proud of my family. Family's number 1 with me. God first, then family. I've been to the city marshal for the last 11 months. I've worked hard. There's a lot more to be done. Got several things donated. The mayor and the council allowed us to have 2 vehicles to use to put on the streets right away. We did. We just took on our third. I donated a vehicle myself, a 2002 Camaro. Been some controversy. My vehicle, I paid for it. I paid for the light, siren, and everything. So it will cost the citizen not a dime. I'm going to use that vehicle to serve papers. The vehicle that I had, I gave to one of the other gentlemen that worked for me, and they're going to serve papers. So now we have 3 vehicles. We have been donated computers. We never had computers. We have computers now. We have a copy machine that was donated from the clerk. I just recently had another computer donated that I'm going to use in my office when I get my office. We're working on it, but I've been working hard, and I just ask people to look at what we've done in a short period of time. I was in the Army for 25 years. I commanded the infantry unit in the very first Desert Storm. I was the superintendent of Parks and Recreation. I have a bachelor's degree. I have an associate degree in criminal justice. But I have a heart, and I see the marshal's job as a way to assist the city police. We don't need another city police. We have a great city police, and I work very well with them. And every day more and more, we're learning our role. For example, today, they needed some help directing traffic when they were picking up all the debris in town. So one of my units went and assisted them. Very simple, nothing earth-shattering, but something necessary so we can free the police up to do the real things. I work very well, I think, with the mayor. I work very well with the chief, and I get along very well with Trey Hike, the judge. I have a great staff. The guys that work for Vic are still there. One gentleman, well, 2 of them left, and they left because they were retired. So we have the same team. Mr. Vic did a great job. We're just doing things a little different, just a little more modernized. That's all. But I see the marshal's office as a way to solve problems. You can take such a small problem and you can fix it before it becomes a humongous, blown out of proportion thing. It could be a eviction. We do evictions. We serve a lot of papers, and I serve the papers. I do 90% of serving the papers myself. If y'all didn't know me, you know I'm a nervous Nelly, so that's what I should be doing, being around, moving around, doing things. We serve papers, we do evictions, small claims, garnishments, so we stay busy. And I'm going to close up in a minute, but I want to say that training my officers, we're going to be trained. I'm working with the sheriff and Mr. Dan LeBlanc, who's the new, in charge of their reserve. We're going to come up with a 2 or 3 week course to train our reserve officers. They'll be reserve officers, but they'll have the working knowledge in the event we need them to assist hurricanes or for ball games, shoot game festival, gumbo cook-off, those type of things. Having 3 vehicles on the road does nothing but making Iberia more secure. Just a visible vehicle riding around, people see it, they say, whoa, you know? Anyway, working real hard. I humbly ask you to really, really, really think about, deep down in your heart, who's the best person for this job. And if you do that, and you ask God's assistance, I know your answer. Please vote for me. My number is 84, I'm sorry, Lord. 84. Please don't forget that. But thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, item 3A.
Public hearing for special ordinance number 2019-2020-14, amending the budget to adjust within 5% and set for public hearing on October 20th, 2020.
I need a motion to open our public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Motion by Councilwoman Guidry. I need a second. Second? Hello? Councilman Swear. Thank you. Is there any public comment on this item? Hearing and seeing no public comment, I now need a motion to close the public hearing.
Mayor, motion to close the public hearing.
Councilman Broussard was first, and Councilwoman Guidry is the second. Thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, 4A.
Mayor,
Sir.
we didn't approve the minutes.
Oh, you are.
They didn't run in the paper. The paper was behind, so they haven't run yet. So
Oh,
they'll be on the next.
Okay, so
They'll
we'll
be on
do
the
two
next
of them
one.
on the next one. Thank you.
Cool.
Good catch. Now we move to item 4A.
Resolution 2083, awarding annual and semi-annual bids for cleaning and maintenance supplies.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Lewis and Councilman Swear. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Hearing and seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, item 5A.
Adoption of special ordinance number 2019-2020-14, amending the budget to adjust within 5%.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Guidry. Do I have a second? Councilwoman Ledbetter. Any discussion on this item?
Mayor, I got one question.
Yes, sir.
I saw we made the adjustments on all the line items on there. What was the, I saw on the street lights, it was $159,000 adjustment.
That's to pay our utility bills.
But
Kevin, you
it's
have,
$550, but that was for the year of this past year.
right.
But did it go down? Because it seemed like to me it was higher than that prior to this year.
It's always been between 550 and 580, I think, so, for the most part.
Because I thought we talked.
We've rounded it up, and we've had discussions that it was close to 600,000.
Yeah.
But I kind of think, I mean,
Okay.
Kevin, the finance director, is here if you want to ask. But
No, I just thought it was more than that. That was.
okay.
But yeah, Kevin.
All right. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Any further discussion? Then I would ask you to vote your machines. Thank you. Madam Clerk, item 6A.
Planning and zoning recommendation to approve the relocation of a single-family home by Matthew Claudette from 833 Center Street to a vacant lot at 621 Daspit Street.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilman Broussard. Do I have a second?
I'll second to get it on the floor.
Great, thank you. Councilwoman Lopez. Is there any discussion on this item?
Yep.
Mr. Broussard?
I think we have a split discussion. I think now that that's your district, it goes on Daspit.
It is.
Your district. I'm split on this thing. It's gonna be torn down or moved somewhere, because what I'm hearing is that Dugas Auto Repair is gonna be buying that lot to make it a parking place, I guess, whatever he's gonna do to expand his business, you know? I hate to lose a rooftop, you know, I'm gonna lose it regardless, sound like. I think it's more going to your district, Ms. Natalie, about, you know, I'm gonna lose this thing regardless, I'm losing a rooftop. I don't wanna lose any rooftops. Probably that house is good enough to be like you're gonna do at Daspit, can be saved, but I cannot, in my heart, stop business, you know, business to grow. Right there, Dugas Auto Repair probably needs that area to grow its business. So I think it's leaning more, Natalie, on Daspit.
I'm ready.
And if it goes into need more time, you know, I'm not cutting the zoning down at all. But with the hurricane, I understand the position, you follow me? That if it does go back to zoning, just to double check it. Y'all say again that he can do it, that's no problem with me. But I'm losing a rooftop. That's all I was looking at, that's why I didn't show up at the zoning meeting, because I knew I was gonna lose it anyway. You know, it's gonna be gone with Dugas Auto, whatever, you gonna tear it down or have it moved, because he bought it, sound like. But, and I hope I made my point that I don't wanna lose any rooftops ever, unless it's really bad, Mr. Mayor, we gotta condemn some houses, yeah, they gotta go. But I sure don't like, you know, losing it this way, but Ms. Natalie, I'm gonna turn the table to you to see on Daspit what you might think of either sending it back to zoning in a polite way to see. But if it goes to zoning, however you feel.
Thank you, Mr. Broussard. Is there any other comments? Anybody else want to comment?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I went and I spoke with Mr. Lowry at Dugas. When he has already purchased this property. It's his already. The previous owner of the automotive shop, his parents, this was their house and they lived in it. And they have passed away. The house has been empty. He does not want renters. He doesn't want to deal with that. So for 3 years, he's been trying to give it away for free, which I don't know why somebody hasn't taken it in 3 years in New Iberia, but here nor there. It's about 25 grand to move it. So one way or another, him and Mr. Claudette got connected, and Mr. Claudette went through the necessary steps to try to get it moved to this lot on Daspit Road. The lot on Daspit Road is a house, it's a blonde brick house that faces Tampico. And what has always been perceived to be the backyard of Tampico, because it's a big fenced-in square, is now, to my knowledge, a separate lot. Okay, the house on Tampico, I'm very familiar with it. The previous owner, he acquired it a couple years ago. Previous owner of that house was a friend of my family and babysat my child. I'm very familiar with the people who would be behind. Okay, so the Tampico house faces Tampico, and then he wants to put this house facing Daspit. Okay, so you got all these people on Worthy that back him up as well, which is where Mr. McDonald and them all live. So at first I was like, I don't know, I don't know if I like this. So let me go look at the house. So I went, I looked at the house. I went in the house. Yes, the house, from what I understand, it's around 70 years old. But it's made very solid. It's a nice house. It's not an ugly house. So okay, I looked at the house, and then I went back to Mr. Claudette's rental property he has on Tampico, where Mr. Lloyd was referencing. There's cars and a camper. There's quite a large family that lives there that rents it from him. And I was told about the possibility of putting his disabled children in it. But when I was told that, I was under the impression that the main family would be living in the blonde brick house, and then they'd be right there to take care of their kids that have special needs, next door. Come to find out through all my investigations, no, they're going to remain living in Squirrel Run, and this would be a rental property. So when I went back to the lot on Daspit, and I got back there, I asked the people if I could go look in the backyard. They said yes. And it had been a while since I've been over there. But Mr. Lloyd, what he says is the truth. There, the fence is a mess. There's a tree that's been messed up forever in the yard. There is another tree who fell on an older lady's house, in her house, for this hurricane, that she had to call someone to cut out. And I have a lot of issues with the fact of, we have to take these situations, they're case by case. It's case by case for me. I come in with an open mind. But for me, people who have rental properties, my dad had rental properties. And there were times that he had tenants that I didn't even want to claim that we own those properties. Because it's just, you never know what you're going to get type thing. But if you're going to be willing to spend this is the problem for me. If you're going to be willing to spend $25,000 to move a free house that you're getting, that you're going to use to become a rental property and make income off of, why haven't you spent any money fixing up what is already there? That, for me, is what pulls me away from, yes, well, the plans are in 2 years my kids will live here. Well, that's the plans. That doesn't mean that's going to happen. He can't promise us that. Like, no offense to him, but, he can't promise us that his kids are going to live there in 2 years. We all know. And for me, the risk just is not worth the reward. It doesn't add anything technically really to the neighborhood. I mean, he already has to pay property tax on the property. The house is already vacant. I mean, I just don't, in my opinion, I just don't, it's, the risk to me does not outweigh the reward. It just doesn't. And I'd probably feel different if I wouldn't have seen what I saw when I went in that backyard. But that's what I saw when I went in the backyard. And I appreciate, I mean, who wouldn't try to get a house for free if they had a lot? You know, I mean, it in the grand scheme of things, it's a very good opportunity for him. So I understand why he went through the trouble he did to get to this place with us. But for me, it's a no. It's not even send it back to zoning. It's a no. I mean, that is just how I feel. I've had some big problems in Acadian Acres, and a lot of them were rental properties, and I'd maybe feel different if he lived in the front, you know, like I originally thought. That kind of had me, you know, because that's in your backyard. But he lives in Squirrel Run. Squirrel Run is not Acadian Acres. No offense. It's not. It's two different neighborhoods. And I'm just, the risk to me is just not worth the reward. The track record of what I saw, it's just not for me. So, I mean, that's where I am. If anybody has more questions of me, I'm comfortable answering them. I spent a lot of time thinking on this, and you know, I mean, I've never talked to him personally. He's never contacted me personally, so I don't. I mean, and had he, of course, I would have went meet him out there. And I mean, I'd say what I'd say to everybody today. Like this yard right here, what I see is not an example of somebody I'm willing to trust to move a 70-year-old home that everything's gonna be A-okay. Because it's just, I just wasn't impressed.
All right. Thank you. I think we had a couple of hands up.
Dan was first.
Okay. Dan?
Well, you know, being here so many years on the council, years back, you couldn't even move a home in the city from lot to lot, much less they had to be on a slab or be built there. But being a mayor pro tem is a little different than being a councilman, and I was both. And what we always did in the past was respect the council person's district. Who knows that district more than them? And as a mayor pro tem, I learned that I need to support the council member of what need and what they want done in their council, in their district. And I think it was mentioned to going back to planning and zoning. I don't think that really solves anything, except if one side that wants it gets their people there, and the guy that doesn't want it get their people there. But at the end of the day, it's up to this council to make the decision. And I'm proud to say, in 19 years being here, there's only one time I voted against the planning and zoning, because they do a great job and they do their homework. There's nothing about what they did was wrong.
No.
But, you know.
And I don't expect them to go do all the investigation that I did. You know, they got a packet, they reviewed it, they had their meeting, they went through their steps.
So, and I have nothing against renters. I got rental property. And not all rental properties are bad rental properties. But I can't predict what someone else is gonna do or who they're gonna rent to. And when we make a decision today, I won't be here to say, I should have done that, or maybe I told you so. We have to make the decision on what's happening today, not what might happen in the future. So I have no problem with the planning and zoning came up with, but as a respect of my council member, I have to support what she wants with this zoning district.
I'm gonna let everybody speak, Mr. Broussard, and then I'll come back. Marlo,
I just have one question.
Councilman Lewis.
I don't, no, we're good.
That's when you cool.
I don't, what does the law, is there a law forbidding moving a home? Or, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm more concerned about anything.
No, we have
I
a
hate to say I don't have a dog in the fight because, I mean, I do, because I'm a council member, but it's not my district. I haven't seen the property. I've had, you know, issues, not issues against or for, but I've had some things come to planning and zoning, and we didn't agree, but it ended up working out. We didn't agree in the beginning, and it ended up working out, and I'm satisfied with the decision that planning and zoning made, and my whole community is satisfied, you know, with the street change thing. I jumped on board big time. This one is tough for me because Dan has a great point. He's not gonna be here to say, oh, I didn't, you know, I should have voted this way. But I don't wanna make a decision for or against a community that I'm gonna say I don't know anything about. I have a cousin that lives over there on Monterey Street. I have a couple of family members live there, but, you know, to say having to pass and see eyesores and have to live there. I mean, I got enough problems in my district, so, you know, I got enough problems in my district.
Well, what's worse? That lot remaining to be a backyard?
Oh, no, I don't, that's what I'm saying, I can't even answer that.
It's
But
not just hang on.
yeah,
I know
can't
it's
even
not a
answer
debate.
that.
Hang on.
I can't even answer that, to be honest with you, but thank you. You know, I didn't get a chance to go by and see it, and I really, if I'd have saw it, I really wouldn't know what to, you know. I know they got some nice houses back there, I know that much, and I know it's a nice neighborhood. I know that much. A nice school back there, so I would say anything that's gonna tear the neighborhood down, I would be against. But again, it's hard for me to make a decision on that, because now, let me say this, and I'm gonna leave this alone, because I don't wanna, there's a lot of vacant lots in the West End. A lot of vacant lots. And I'm sure there's gonna be people that's gonna say, look, I wanna move a house on a vacant lot. Then I'm gonna be getting into, well, you voted against that guy, well, you know, or you voted for that guy. So that's why it's tough decision for me. And I'm going, I mean, planning and zoning, you know, they put in work. So I don't know, I'm gonna just leave it alone for now and listen to what everybody else has to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else have a comment? Before, I know Mr. Broussard had his hand up again, but I'd like to let everybody have a chance.
Talk first. Hit it.
Jeff?
Well, I just wanted to point out the motion that's prepared and the motion on the agenda is to approve.
Right.
So we have a motion, we have a second.
Right.
And that will need to be voted on unless Councilwoman Lopez wants to withdraw her second on that and maybe make a different motion.
Yeah,
to
no,
not.
I was just waiting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to point out because we
Right.
Yeah,
somebody made a
no,
motion.
I understand.
Okay.
Yeah, that's on the floor now.
That's
We'll
why I
finish
go
our
first.
discussion and see what happens next.
Right.
Yeah, but it could change. I understand that. Anybody else? Then I'm gonna call back on Mr. Broussard. Mr. Broussard, you had your hand up again.
Again, Ms. Lopez, I think it's whatever you might decide in your district, because that's heavy on your end, not on mine. He's gonna make it an empty lot, whether he sells it to this man or what. It's gonna be an empty lot. I'm gonna lose a house, a rooftop. So my district is losing more or less a rooftop. It's vacant, it's been there, it's gonna be an empty lot, it's gonna be done something. So we have to respect where it's going. Now, I hoped and prayed that some of this discussion we having from some of the people off of Daspit would have happened at the zoning meeting. It might have gave them a different option to think about at that meeting. I knew the meeting was going on. I thought it was a slam dunk. Just move it, get it, move, bye-bye. It's going somewhere else. No opposition on the other end. I had no reason to go to the meeting. You know, I knew it was gonna be gone. It's gonna be an empty lot. You know, so that's what I thought. Now, I didn't hear that we had some opposition on the other end. I might have showed up to hear the opposition where it's going, you know. So I wish you had showed up at that zoning meeting that night at 5 o'clock. And express your concern, so it wouldn't be so much on us. But Ms. Natalie, it's
I
on you.
can take the heat.
It's on you.
I can
Whatever you
take
might
the
think
heat.
is best for your district. Oh, you always ask me what's best for my district.
Mhm.
You always went with me. I'm going with you, Ms. Natalie.
Yeah.
So whatever you think is best, give it to us one more time. Which way you think we should go.
I will.
I think she will. Any further discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I just have just a little parliamentary thing.
Yes, ma'am.
You really don't need to rescind the motion. All you have to do is vote no on that motion. The motion to approve is there. When you vote no, it means it's no good.
True. Anybody else? Thank you.
Ms. Deidre, okay.
So, anybody else have any other remarks on this issue? Natalie, got your hand back up?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else before I give it to Natalie? Natalie, go ahead.
No. So what Mr. Lewis said, I understand that, and I've thought about that too. There was a part of me that thought, ooh, easy way out. I'll just table that, and I'm gonna let Brooke deal with that when she gets here. But I said, hey, look, you gotta be strategic. That's something where you win in life, strategy. But at the end of the day, Mr. Larry and them, they want it gone. So either Mr. Claudette will find somewhere else to put it, somebody else will hear about it from all this jazz, or he'll tear it down, here nor there. Like I said, the house is already vacant. But for me, what's worse? Mr. Claudette continuing to have a very nice brick rental property with a backyard that he needs to clean up, or the risk of moving a house there in 2 years. It's not. We didn't get what we bought. It's just not, for me. Like I said, the risk is not worth the reward. And I understand what you're saying about like how your constituents would feel, but at the end of the day, that's why we have this whole scenario, and that's why it goes down like this, because you have to treat it just how like you do in court. Every case is different. You have to treat it differently. This house that might want to go on Mullane is not the same as this house that wants to go on West Washington. And that's part of the deal. We have to make these decisions sometimes that are hard. And, you gotta have thick skin, and you gotta be willing to stand by your decision. And I stand by my decision. And that's how I feel. And it's nothing personal to Mr. Claudette. It's just the nature of Acadian Acres. It goes from houses that, Tampico, Monterey in the front, all the way where I am in the back. You got houses like 65 years old, and I live in a house on this side that's 8 years old. There's a little spot in the middle that has like some trailers that are like not too great. And there's another spot that has some trailers that are like so neat it's the lady doesn't play. It's just, they got enough this, that, and the other. Risk is not worth reward for me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there? Yes, ma'am.
I really have a comment this time.
Yes, ma'am.
My comment is kind of like Councilman Lewis said, it's not our district. We haven't done the research. So I'm going to go with what the council member of the district has to say about it. It's her district. She knows what's best. And, we should be supportive of that.
Thank you. Anybody else? If there's nothing further, good discussion. I'll ask you to please vote your machines.
So again, we are
Oh.
voting, I'm sorry, sir. So
It's okay.
again, we are voting according to the recommendations of the planning and zoning for this particular recommendation to be approved for the relocation of this home. That is what's on the agenda for tonight.
Yes, the same motion. Nothing has changed in the motion.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you need
Sure.
to vote.
Okay.
Yeah, please vote.
Okay.
All right, thank you all very much. Discussion items, item 7. We have no discussion items tonight. We'll move to councilman remarks, and this time I'll start with Dustin on that side of the table.
Thank you. The only thing that I just remark I have to make, we had a notice sent out on October 10th. It was actually a public notice, just letting people know that there's storm debris collection, not to put it certain places. For example, fire hydrants in front of water meters, electrical lines, those kind of things. So I think we did put it out as a public notice was it in the paper by any chance? Or did?
I know we did it on Facebook and on the city's website.
Okay. So if anybody needs to.
And in a press release.
Okay, press release. So if anybody needs more information on that, to contact us or look on our website, look on Facebook, stuff like that. There is certain places that we should be putting it, and I'm
Correct.
starting to have some issues in some areas. So I just wanted to let people know that. And I said, Marlo, is your birthday?
Yeah, man.
What?
Happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you,
birthday.
man. Thank you, man.
That's it for tonight. man.
28 years old?
Thank you. Councilman Guidry.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dustin.
First, I just want to say that what just took place did not feel good to me as a leader at all. But again, leadership is not popular. And it has been our thing up here to vote with the actual council member. And I've had issues in my district where I know my district. I know what time it is, and I know what's going on. And so you all honored that because you know that I know what I'm talking about concerning my district. They don't call the other council members, they call you. And so you have to make sure that you're making that right decision. And the fact that you visited that place and stuff. So I don't like going against the planning and zoning because they do a lot of work. They really do their due diligence. So again, that did not feel good. But again, as the councilwoman for that district, that's what you decided. So that's what we're going with. I just want to say this. I think this is our last meeting, Mayor, before the election. Is it?
Yes, November 3rd. Yes,
Yes,
you're right.
sir, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I just want to say
I had to stop it.
that I have had a blast. It's been a blast, y'all. There are days to where I cried. There are days to where that I had no sleep. There are days to where I called each and every one of you and got your opinion about something or wanting to know more about it. This has been the best job that I've ever had in my entire life. I've had other jobs. I've gave it my all. But this job really helped me to decide to be able to do what's already on the inside of me, and that's public service, putting the service back in public service. I love to serve. I have a servant's heart, and I just enjoy this job from day in to day out. It's definitely not a 9-to-5 job. It's almost like a 24-hour call job, and you all know what I'm talking about. So I'm excited about it, and I'm going to give myself another plug again. I'm going to ask the voters to get out there and vote. Sherry Guidry, number 97 on the ballot with experience. I have 2 announcements that I was sent, and it's concerning the trunk or treat. I think I got that right. For the Boys and Girls Club. I think they're doing it Friday, October the 30th at 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. It's food, fun, games, and prizes. So come out and support the Boys and Girls Club of Acadiana in Iberia Parish. And if you have any questions, you can definitely contact Ms. Brianna over there. I think the West End Park is also giving something as well, the Trunk or Treat, on Saturday, October the 31st, same day from 12 to 4 p.m. And let's see, at 1200 Field Street. So just contact the park, I would think, Miss Heather. Yes, contact the park about that as well. Thank you so much. I yield back at this time.
Thank you. Dieter.
Dan, you had something to tell me? You just looking at me. You had something to tell me?
No, I was just smiling.
Oh, you're smiling? Okay, I'm smiling back.
Deidre.
On last evening, I do want to say that I received a call about a bear on Bayard Street. So people in that area, please beware. If you happen to see the bear, please call the police department and they will know what to do. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Also, yes, this is our last meeting before election. Everybody, I just want to say, I'm number 95 on the ballot. I'm up for re-election. Please go out and vote. If you have not already voted, please make it your business to vote between, you have until the 27th, I think, to vote, and also on November 3rd. So please go out and vote, or make sure that you turn in your absentee ballots. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan?
Mayor, how much longer is the pickup for the storm debris gonna be?
It takes us between 3 and 4 weeks to clean our city. And we have more damage this time than Barry. Remember, we put in and collected almost $500,000 when you total everything for Barry. We're going to be up there again. We are spending quite a lot of money. The amount of large trees that are down are more than the city has had in a very long time. Not just, exclude the parks, but in the neighborhood, everywhere. We are working on it. I think it's going to be 4 weeks. It was 3 weeks for Barry. But, I ask people to be patient. We are utilizing the police department and the marshal's office more than ever to block streets to pick up because there's so much debris. The trees are larger than they were before. We are struggling with some of that. So you'll see today they did the rest of Superior Street and Louisville Road, and we blocked traffic. We normally don't do that. We'll be blocking Darby Lane for sure because it's so overloaded. There are quite a few areas that it's the only way to get it. So that is taking a little more time, number one, but number two, we do have a lot of damage. So I would say that be patient and you can expect 3 to 4 weeks.
So if we tell the people by the end of October, because I don't want people calling me November 2nd or 3rd and saying, oh, it's hurricane damage. You have time to do it. And if they pick up once, they will pick up again. Correct, Mayor?
Yeah, for the most part, we try to do one major cleanup, run around the whole city, then before Gordon shuts down, he makes a second pass. If you notice, though, in many areas he's getting it all now, but I am sure, because I haven't got a chance. I've been swamped with the master study, and this job consumes you. I didn't finish whacking the tree that fell in my yard. I mean, I'll be putting out round 2, I can tell you. So he will make another pass, but like I said, you can expect that this one is going to be a little lengthy.
Okay. And as they mentioned up here, make sure you go vote. It feels funny for me in 19 years not to have my name up there, but it's been a pleasure, and we got a few more meetings before, and I'm sure everyone up here is going to get reelected, because normally you don't get elected because you don't do your job. And it just seemed like everyone up here, as Marlon talked about, did their job. So I just want to congratulate everybody before the election, and hope it works out, and go vote, because that's one right we have that costs nothing. And when people don't go vote, I believe they don't have the right to complain. So please go vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
I did all the same thing with Dan. You're talking about seriously, man. It's been real good not having to run against somebody. But boy, if you're sitting in the trenches right now, I wish all of y'all the best of luck to get it done. Fight the last 2 weeks and make sure y'all get up here. We've been working as a good team. I want to see some of the same faces back up here in a big way. But Mr. Mayor, working on business. We don't want to be Lafayette number 2. Signs at our parks. Dusk to dawn. Dawn to dusk. Whatever you want to put time on there. So whenever they do think about having a get together in them parks, at least we can go shut it down at a certain time. We don't want to be Lafayette number 2 again. That was sad to watch something happen in a park, shooting it in the head. It's terrible. So if we could help And I've been asking for a sign on Parkwood for 5 years. We don't have a sign. So if at all possible, we can check all our parks. I hope the parish checks theirs too. At least we have something the police can go and abide by, if they have something come up in our parks, So if you can, look at that kind of serious and we'll get that straight, that we can have the police back up. What we're talking about in some of them parks.
Not a problem. Thank you. Councilman Lewis.
Thank you. Well, I'm gonna ditto, Dr. Ledbetter and Councilwoman Sherry Guidry, and I'm gonna say, it's been a pleasure serving these past 4 years. I am qualified, meaning that I am trained and certified to perform a particular job. This job is this. I'm also bona fide, which means that I'm real, I'm genuine, and I do not have the intent to deceive my community. Please vote number 93 on your ballot, Marlon Marlowe Lewis. And by the way, happy 50th birthday to myself. It's my birthday.
Happy birthday. Councilman Lopez.
A little baby.
Hot under here. Well, since everybody's giving plugs, and I don't have to run again, I'm gonna give my own. For those of you who do not know, I am the campaign coordinator and treasurer for Alicia Johnson Butler, who is running for judge in Division H, which is the minority division. I'm supporting her because not only is she one of my very best friends, she is my sister in God. She's a beautiful mother and a wonderful person. So if you haven't made up your mind in that race, please visit her website and check her out. Alicia Johnson Butler, number 72.
Thank you.
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, you can.
About the master plan, on tomorrow, our mayor will be doing a presentation at 2 o'clock at the Value Test Trading Company at 301 West St. Peter Street. And if anybody is interested in coming, it's for me, my district, but anybody's welcome. Just call me and let me know because we're limiting it to no more than 25 people. My number, of course, is on the city's website. But if you want, it's 380-6364. So if you're interested and want to come out at 2 o'clock tomorrow to see how we're gonna continue moving New Iberia forward, come on out.
Thank you.
May I have one more announcement? Thank you.
Roll with it.
On October the 26th, Monday, from 11 p.m. to 4 p.m., 1200 Field Street, we're going to have a massive food distribution. We need 2 families per car allowed, or they probably mean 2 people per car allowed, or two boxes per car allowed, but they have two families. That's a lot. And this is sponsored by Second Harvest, by Mount Olive Baptist Church, and our nonprofit WECNA, Western Neighborhood Association. That's going to be Monday, October 26th, from 11 to 4 on Field Street at Mount Olive Baptist Church.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next meeting is Wednesday, November the 4th, not the 3rd as it normally is because that's election day and we're closed that day because so many of our facilities are polling places. So we moved the meeting to Wednesday. So remember, Wednesday, November the 4th. Just to remind the council, we'll also take a picture of this council while we're at that meeting instead of waiting until the end of the year. Master Studies, as we talked about, I've probably done it 10 times so far, I guess. We started it off a bang. We did 5 or 6 the first day. I have 2 or 3 presentations. They take about an hour every day for the next 2.5 weeks. It gives a great overview of what this council's been working on and what we've been doing as a team. Shows you some visions for the future. Gives us, me, the staff, and the team a hell of an arsenal of almost 100 projects to look for grants. Remember, all of our basis of success has been property the city owns, property that's shovel ready, property that we have a schematic design, and we have a match. We have gone into the neighborhoods. The national study was great. It's turned out a lot of projects. We've gotten a lot of grants. Now we're moving into the neighborhoods. What is the fun part and the part that so far has gotten a whole lot of attention of the groups we've done it for is what's happening in the neighborhoods. It's what's coming, it's what the grants we're going after. It gives you a good vision of where we would like to head. So I invite you to come, call my office to get on the schedule. It is limited by space because of COVID. We do have to separate. I own the Biotest Trading Company, so I could donate it, spread out. It's a big facility. It's rated for 250 people, so we could spread it out, and it was the only place I could find. The banners are giant. I mean, they're probably 9 feet tall. It was the only place that I could set all that up for at least a month that, no, we'd have to take it down for any other function. So call my office if you can get in. I think it's well worth it. We've got properties on Civic Source for sale. Look those up. And that's kind of it. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank you.